Isekai. It is the most worn-out genre in anime. When it feels like one is popping up every anime season, we are at a point where I do not need to define the term because most people already know it. You know, the main character dies and ends up getting reincarnated into a fantasy world reminiscent of a JRPG as extremely OP and getting a harem at their feet. Yes, that is what I think you think when you hear Isekai. Of course, some shows take the typical Isekai formula and add some spin to it. A Journey Through Another World, Raising Kids While Adventuring does just that. Takes the Isekai formula and, at least at this point in time, seems to replace the harem with kids adventuring alongside the main character who must fulfill the parental role. Yay! Anyway, let's get into the specifics of the show. Our protagonist, Takumi, is killed by accident by the wind god of another world. As his full name is not a name that I want to risk butchering, I'll refer to him as a nickname given to him in the show. Syl. Of course, to make up for an accidental cutting short of life, Syl decides that Takumi should be reincarnated in the world that he governs with skills and knowledge of the world, with the skills making him OP. And he ends up in an A-rank force. Of course, divine intervention is something you must get used to in this series. At least in the beginning, these gods give Takumi everything he needs. The only thing Takumi must worry about are his wants. Now, I want to get killed by accident by a god and get reincarnated in another world and have all that stuff given to me. But of course, while adventuring, we get to the whole selling point of the show. The kids. Takumi finds the kids. And because, of course, they just so happen to be here, after getting some clothes, they are off out of the forest. Turns out these kids are not the kids you're used to seeing. Just like their papa, they are OP. Okay, I'll try my best to not do as much super recap, but they find a town, stay in an inn, find out about the whole divine intervention shtick, at least Takumi does, become adventurers, and complete a quest. Witness the kids beat up a guy who's been trained into having muscles. Oh, did I forget to mention all of that plot that I described occurred in the first episode? That's right. You heard me correctly. The plot details I explained all occur in the first episode. Do not worry. Pacing makes sense in the episode, but listening to all those rapid-fire moments felt like... Wait, all that... Okay, yes, I would repeat myself too much if I repeated it here. However, episode 1 also introduced us to a quest that adventurers/explorers do when they get up to A rank, Takumi just so happens to get given a special request, cause I guess kids beating up muscle guy means they're good enough, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to episode 2. Episode 2 then introduces us to labyrinths, which, for the Mystery Dungeon players in the audience, are similar to those, and contracted beasts. A specific part about the introduction of contracted beasts in this episode feels iffy to me, but I'll get to that when I talk about episode 3. Anyway, on streaming services, the first 2 episodes were released simultaneously. As I watched this on Crunchyroll, this video was originally going to be written up and posted on the 14th. Still, since I decided I need another episode to cement my opinion, we are here now. However, episode 2 was a solid episode that helped build up the characters and how they interact. The bakery scene was a lovely touch, especially since it allowed us to understand more about the world and its economy. Despite me saying it's a solid episode, there isn't much for me to comment on about it. And then there's episode 3. Takumi names 2 new contracted beasts he got at the end of the previous episode and gives them collars, even saying that the collars should still work when 2 of them use the skill Shrink. This is where the issue I mentioned earlier involving Jewel in the second episode comes into play. In that episode, Takumi has Jewel hide in his shadow because Jewel's a wolf thing and is a wolf-esque creature and, as such, would be seen as dangerous. In this episode, after Jewel defeats Shrink, Takumi's all like, okay, now we can go into town with these 2 out and have people think they're a cat and a dog, having Bolt hide in his shadow because Bolt doesn't have that skill. Now, If shrinking Jewel down with a collar will make people think he's a dog, shouldn't the same be valid without the collar too? I will admit that I know nothing about owning pets, but I refuse to believe that adding collars to the morphed form would make the public think, oh, that's not dangerous. Didn't even get to see Toomey attempt to bring a smaller Jewel into the town. There's no explanation as to whether contracted beasts need collars to be able to enter towns. There are holes that need to be filled in. None of these holes will get filled in because the focus of this series isn't about building up a believable world, or at least as plausible as fantasy worlds can allow, where its laws are clear and defined. No, it's watching Takumi raise these kids while adventuring, because that's the name of the effing show. I'm sorry, it's just that, as an aspiring author, it bothers me when laws that can be seen as necessary to the protagonist, like when contracted beasts are allowed in towns, aren't explained. Despite the seemingly unfilled plot hole, the third episode was decent. It took an element introduced episode 1 and brought into the series' forefront, so it may need one more episode to wrap up that plot point. That's precisely why I chose the 4-episode rule instead of the 3-episode rule for this show. At the very least, I want to see this little plot conclude. So Sarah, from July 16th, 2024, will take a step back and let the Sarah from July 21st, 2024, fill you in on her thoughts. It is now July 21st, 2024. I have finished watching the 4th episode of this show. Was the setup necessary? No. But between the 16th and now, I've learned some things. Number 1, the microphone I used for this video's first segment should never be used as a microphone again. Thanks, Amazon Basic. Number 2, I love isekai as a genre, both the regular and reverse kinds. And number 3, I spend way too much time on Monopoly Go. Okay, that's enough unnecessary filler. Let me get into talking about the show. So this show has the scene of what I lovingly call holy deforestation, which means that deforestation occurs due to a fight between two characters or just a character using their skills. Yeah, sorry that it has nothing to do with actual gods. That's just what I like to call it. The episode also doesn't feel forced in any respect, which is another positive for the show. Seems like the first 3 episodes were just the weakest of the batch, and now we're getting to the stronger episodes. This show also appears to have gay representation, which is always a win for me. I love complicated romances between people of the same gender. Now, am I saying that you have to watch it for the gay representation? No. However, I hope that the character who ignited this gay representation comes back in future episodes. While holes in the plot may still exist, I think all this show needs is time to fill them. Once that happens, then I think this will be a solid show. As such, I will continue following this show throughout the anime season. It doesn't exactly have my seal of approval yet, but at the very least, it's not a show I'd recommend folks to stay away from. A Journey Through Another World raising kids while adventuring is available to simulcast on Crunchyroll in North America, though episodes are opened up to non-premium users a week after they air. As such, only the first 3 episodes are available to free users when this is being recorded. Make sure to research what services the show is on for you before assuming it's also available on Crunchyroll where you live. Thank you for watching, and until next time.